Hey there, Rub-a-Dub subs, it's Blackmetalwerewolf making a brand new video for you this week. And today we are going to be talking about subgenres. Now, I know subgenres is something I've covered many times in my videos, but the other day I was sitting down listening to some music, and I was looking at all the CDs I had in front of me, and it just kind of got me thinking. Even though there are so many different types of metal, I always kind of thought, what kind of births a new subgenre? And on that same train of thought, what could kill a type of subgenre? So that's what we're going to be talking about today, the birth and death of subgenres. Now, I know the topic of subgenres is a very widely debated topic in the world of metal, for several reasons. There are some people who dismiss the concept of subgenres altogether and just say it's all metal, where some people like to categorize it all into different types of metal. There's some people who think that subgenres aren't considered metal at all, whereas other people think they are, and a lot of people get into pretty big debates over these kinds of things. For example, I love black metal. There are some people out there who dismiss black metal as a subgenre altogether. They think it's tacky, they think it's stupid, but you know, there are types of metal that I think are tacky and stupid. For example, hair metal. I am not a fan of hair metal at all. I think the only band in the hair metal subgenre that I could possibly even consider liking is Twisted Sister, and there's some people who can't even fucking stand them. So I think we can all agree in the world of subgenres, it is a very widely debated topic. But as I was listening to music the other day, I was just kind of thinking, what could really birth a new type of heavy metal? Because obviously, when heavy metal first started a couple decades ago, there was so much room to grow. Like, it started with Black Sabbath, and at the time, they were probably the darkest, heaviest band out there. And some people would still consider them the darkest, heaviest band around, but other people not so much. But regardless if you agree with that statement or not, metal continued to grow and change and evolve into all these different subgenres. And now I'm just kind of thinking, metal has kind of gotten to the point where I don't think there is much more room to grow for it to still be considered metal. Like I was saying before, there are so many different types of metal, black metal, death metal, thrash metal, speed metal, power metal, etc., etc., etc. So I was just kind of thinking, where else can metal go? Because I think metal has already gotten to the point where it's gone so extreme, where else can you go outside of that? For example, like, you know, death metal, it obviously focuses on death, murder, gore, blood, guts, rape, all these things, and it's kind of hard to top that. Whereas black metal, you have darkness, evil, Satanism. You know, what's more dark and evil than darkness and evil? How can you expand upon that? I was kind of thinking, well, the only way you can really outdo that, well, not outdo it, but go away from that, is to regress to something lighter. But there's still already different types of lighter metal, well, white metal, for example, something some people don't even recognize, and in some metals of circle is considered a laughingstock, but other people consider it a legitimate form of metal. But that is very, you know, not dark and evil. So, and you know, white metal already has that covered. So I'm really kind of thinking, where can metal go from that point? And I don't really know, because metal has covered so many things, from like black metal and death metal. Some people consider Viking metal a type of music, and pirate metal. So once you go from to outer space to Vikings and pirates, where do you go from there? I always thought it would be very interesting for a band to do an entire sci-fi album. I think that'd be really cool. I'm sure it's been done, just I haven't listened to it. I just think it'd be a very cool idea. But obviously, just because I don't think it can really be done, it doesn't mean it can't be done. I'm sure, you know, there are people out there who are considerably smarter and more talented than me who can come up with something new and interesting, and that will just really bring a new shot in the arm to metal, you know, something brand new that a lot of people will get interested in. I really hope that does happen, because I would love to see that and get into it. Just, you know, in my own, you know, kind of narrow-minded view here, I can't really see where it can go from there. But I want to see it done, because that'd be badass to see a whole new, see the birthing of a brand new subgenre. That'd be fucking metal, don't you think? I know in my own head, I've always wanted to start my own band and have it 100% focused on horror. Because horror has been a pretty big part of heavy metal. Just, there aren't that many bands that 100% focus on it, and some of those bands aren't even that good, in my opinion at least. But yeah, that's what I always thought, but of course that's not starting a new subgenre, because it's already been done. That's just in my head what I would like to do with it. And I'm sure, you know, there are other people out there who have their own ideas for their own thing, but is it a new subgenre? You know, it's interesting to think about. It's just, like I was saying before, I think it'd be really cool to witness the whole new birthing of it, of a new subgenre, and just roll with it and see where it goes. I think that'd be really cool. But now that I've covered the birthing of a new subgenre, let's talk about the death of a subgenre. The most notable one I could really think of would be hair metal. Of course, a lot of people don't even consider hair metal a type of metal, but for the sake of this argument, I will just, consider it a form of metal just for argument's sake. Anyway, so in the 80s, hair metal was a pretty big thing, but by the end of the 80s, early 90s, it ran its course and it essentially died for quite some time. But then at some point it did make a resurrection. A lot of the people from these bands started going on tour again, started making new music. People wanted to hear their music again, and it just kind of revitalized it. Not to the point where it was before, but it did make a semi-comeback. But, what really killed it to begin with? Well, I see it as two ways. One, it was oversaturated, and two, a new form of music came by and destroyed it. So obviously when it comes to oversaturation, the record companies saw that hair metal bands were making money, so they started essentially producing boy band hair metal bands, where just threw a bunch of guys together and said, play shitty hair metal, sell a bunch of records, you'll get rich, you'll get laid, everyone's happy. But then all that did was create a oversaturation of the market where people was eventually like, there's so much of this same shit, fuck this, I want to listen to something new. Then grunge music eventually came around, which is, to a point, a polar opposite of hair metal, and people weren't interested in hair metal anymore, and they said, no, fuck these guys. And it disappeared for quite some time. So yeah, a new form of music came and destroyed an oversaturated form of music. Could that happen to a lot of bands today? Possibly. I don't really think so now, mostly because most genres of metal are really well established now, like thrash metal. A new form of band, like a new band or a new subgenre of music, I don't think will ever get anyone to forget about Slayer or Megadeth or Metallica. I don't think a new band could totally wipe this slate clean now, because the really formed metal's subgenres aren't disposable like hair metal was, where hair metal was essentially made to be disposable, but the other subgenres of metal were not. That's just the way I think about it. So, is it possible for them to die out? I suppose so. Anything is possible. Is it likely to happen? I strongly doubt it. But now I want to get your guys' opinion on all of this. Do you think that there is enough room in the world of heavy metal for a new subgenre to be born? Or do you think there's a possibility of a well-established subgenre of metal to be killed off completely? Please leave me a comment letting me know what you guys think of this whole thing. Now, like my past videos, I either do an album recommendation or an album warning, and today I'm happy to do another recommendation. The band is Visigoth, the album is Conqueror's Oath. I picked this up the other day, and I fell in love with it. It's loud, it's fast, it's metal as fuck. I loved it, and I think you guys will love it too. So that's it for today's video. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of today's video. Check out some of my past videos and share them with a few of your friends while you're at it. If you want to keep up with me on a more daily basis, you can follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. I also have a P.O. box open. All of that info is down in the description. I have a handful of patches left for sale, so if you'd like to get your very own, you can click right over here. There's also a link down in the description. Overall, thank you very much for watching, guys, and don't forget to stay brutal.